Open your phone right now and look at the apps on your screen. Count how many use square or rectangular shapes. Now look outside your window at the buildings around you. Notice how many are cube-shaped or use cube-based designs. What you're seeing isn't accidental. It's the systematic application of ancient symbolic language in modern corporate culture. I'm Dr. Marcus Thorne, and I've spent years documenting how major corporations use esoteric symbolism to influence consumer psychology. Today, I'm going to show you how the same symbols that ancient mystery schools used to represent cosmic forces are now being deployed in marketing and architecture to shape human behavior. Let's start with the most obvious example, the CBS logo. CBS stands for Columbia Broadcasting System, but their headquarters in New York is literally a massive black cube. This isn't subtle symbolism. It's blatant use of the Saturn/cube archetype in corporate identity. The black cube represents material control, limitation, and temporal boundaries. Perfect symbolism for a media company that shapes public perception. But it goes much deeper than just one building. Look at major bank logos. Squares, rectangles, and cube-based designs dominate the financial industry. Why? Because these shapes psychologically represent stability, permanence, and material security. When you see a cube-based logo, your subconscious mind associates it with solid, trustworthy institutions. The technology industry is even more saturated with this symbolism. Microsoft's logo is literally 4 squares forming a larger square. Apple's app icons are all contained within rounded squares. Android uses square app icons. These companies understand that geometric shapes affect human consciousness at a subliminal level. Here's the crucial insight. These shapes aren't chosen randomly by graphic designers. They're selected because they tap into archetypal patterns that have influenced human psychology for thousands of years. The cube represents earthly power, material control, and structured thinking. When you surround people with cube symbolism, you're programming them to think within boundaries. Ancient mystery schools knew this. They understood that geometric forms could be used to elevate consciousness or to control it. The difference lies in whether people are conscious of what they're participating in. Unconscious exposure to symbolic programming can limit human potential, while conscious engagement can be genuinely empowering. The problem with modern corporate symbol usage is that it's almost entirely unconscious. People don't realize they're being influenced by ancient esoteric symbols every time they interact with corporate logos, building designs, or urban planning. This creates a form of psychological programming that operates below the threshold of awareness. Take city planning, for example. The grid system used in most modern cities is pure cube geometry extended into urban space. You live within a cube-based apartment, work in a cube-shaped office building, and travel along cube-based street grids. Your entire environment is structured according to Saturnian principles of limitation and control. But here's the empowering part. Once you understand how this system works, you can begin to make conscious choices about how you engage with it. You can recognize when you're being influenced by symbolic programming and choose to respond consciously rather than reactively. I've documented all of these patterns in my book, The Saturn Conspiracy: How Ancient Cube Worship Controls Modern Reality. If you want to understand how corporate symbolism influences your daily decisions, you can grab your copy for just $2.99 using the link in the description below. The transformation begins with awareness. Once you start recognizing these symbolic patterns in corporate logos, architecture, and urban planning, you'll see them everywhere. The question then becomes, how do you choose to respond to this influence? Some people become paranoid when they first recognize these patterns. That's not the goal. The goal is to become conscious of symbolic influence so you can make informed choices about how to engage with it. Symbols have power, but conscious awareness gives you the ability to work with that power rather than being controlled by it. Tomorrow, I'll show you how the same symbolism appears in government buildings and religious architecture, creating a unified system of environmental programming. But first, check out the Saturn conspiracy and start your own investigation into how these symbols influence your daily life. The ancient wisdom is still available to those who seek it. The question is, will you remain unconscious of these influences? Or will you learn to recognize and work with them consciously?